Welcome to the very first episode of Glazefest, where I go on and on about games from the golden era of gaming and why they're just that much better than everything that's out on the market today. I'm going to talk about some obvious games that everybody probably knows, and then some undergrad ones that you might not have heard of but should definitely try out. Now, before you come into my comments section screaming about how these games are buggy, the camera sucks, the plot has no depth, I know that already.
These games before!
I know the games aren't smooth. I know these games have a linear plot. I know they have performance issues, but I could not care less. That's just the era that these games came from, and like it or not, you're going to have to accept that no game is perfect. However, the games I'm going to talk about are pretty fucking close. Growing up, I was a giant superhero nerd, as I'm pretty sure every boy under the age of 10 was. For some reason, though, my favorite superhero wasn't Spider-Man, wasn't Iron Man, or Thor. In fact, my favorite superhero team wasn't and still isn't the Avengers. It was the X-Men. I don't know why, I don't know how. I literally didn't even watch an X-Men movie until like 2017 or watch any of the shows. Actually, that's a lie. I do know why it was the X-Men. Whenever I would go to my cousin's house, I would spend my days in the basement playing on an original Xbox. Yeah, not the 360, I mean like the really old one with like the weird controllers and creepy startup menu. Anyway, the only game disc I could use that wasn't irreversibly damaged or soft locked was the absolute masterpiece that is X-Men Legends. Releasing in 2004, X-Men Legends is an action RPG made by Raven Software and published by Activision. I know I give Activision a lot of shit for what they've been doing as of recently with like Call of Duty, but bro, from like 20 years ago to like the mid-2010s, they were on a generational run. X-Men Legends came out on the GameCube, PS2, and the original Xbox, and was also officially licensed by Marvel. This game came out in an era of amazing single-player games like GTA San Andreas and Ninja Gaiden, so it definitely had some tough competition for sure, which probably explains why it's not talked about nearly as much as I think it should be. This game has a lot of content to cover, so I'm going to split this video up into a few sections. I'm going to start by talking about the story. Spoilers ahead, but I mean this game is literally 2 decades old now. The gameplay and its customizability, which I think is X-Men Legends' main selling point. Don't worry, I'm also going to talk about its issues at the end because trust me, there's definitely a few. The story follows Allison Crestmere, or Magma, as she figures out that she's got powers and what to do with them. The story opens up in New York City, where the Brotherhood of Mutants is trying to get their hands on Magma because she's got some crazy destructive potential. You start out as Wolverine, voiced by the GOAT Steve Blum, trying to get her back, and Cyclops will come in and join you later. After you get her back, Magma will meet the rest of the X-Men, and you as the player get to talk to some big names like Iceman, Jean Grey, or Storm. The X-Men go on like 10 different missions to try and figure out why the Brotherhood even wanted Allison at all, and you find out that Magneto, who gets freed by Mystique, wants to hold the Earth hostage for like the 1000th time, so mutants can rule. If you're not X-Men fans, the whole reason Magneto's a villain is because mutants are looked at as freaks by regular people in the government. That was always so stupid to me. They're okay with Captain America and his super serum, Spider-Man and his radioactive spider, but bone claws and energy beams, no, that can't have that. What the fuck is this logic? Anyway, plot holes aside, the X-Men have to not only worry about the Brotherhood and Magneto, but also the American government and Sentinels, which are basically genocidal robots built to specifically hunt and kill mutants. The game comes to a climax when Magneto kinda wins and surrounds the Earth with asteroids to the point where every human on Earth cannot see the sun. Of course, the X-Men find him, beat him, and then have to fight a super Sentinel that the government made to, you guessed it, kill more mutants. They win, and then Magma manages to be powerful enough to save the world and remove the asteroids. That's the story in a nutshell. It seems pretty basic at first, which it is, but the missions are, at least they make sense and everything fits together. There's also a few flashback missions which are pretty cool too, but again, basic and really linear. If this is starting to turn you off, slow down, don't click off yet, I promise. The story is good, but it's not even remotely close to the best part about X-Men Legends. The gameplay of X-Men Legends is where the game absolutely shines. You get to set up a 4-man team of X-Men of your choice for every mission, and they all have their strengths and weaknesses. You get 2 basic attacks, a light and a heavy, as well as a grab and a jump. If you hold the right trigger, your basic attack inputs become special attacks, which will cost you energy to use but can apply debuffs, buffs to you, and a whole lot more damage than your basic attacks. There are also some combo strings that can stun or knock down an enemy, so fighting game fans, there is some combo potential for you guys to mess around with. Every attack has a type, kind of like Pokemon, physical, mental, and energy, and this single-handedly changes the dynamic of the game. Every character specializes in something different. For example, Wolverine and Colossus are heavy physical heaters but don't have much range at all. Jean Grey can do heavy mental damage, but unless you upgrade her right, her physical damage sucks ass. Storm and Cyclops also have the same issue but do heavy energy damage. And Beast's nerdy ass is really good at double flipping off the map, so I don't have to play as him anymore. No, like seriously, who the fuck thought of this guy's moveset? He literally doesn't do anything better than any other character on the roster. He's about as useless as characters can get. So, a word of advice, please don't ever use him. Anyway, certain enemy types are resistant to certain types of attacks, so you're forced to think about who you bring with you on the mission so you can effectively damage enemies of different types. Guess what? There's one massive mechanic I still have yet to mention that adds another layer of strategy and skill to the game. Team combos. These basically activate when two X-Men use special moves on one enemy at the same time, and this attack can do extra damage, gets a cool name pop-up that's a combination of the names of the two moves, and the best part, you get this. That's how you know you're cooking. There's so much room for creativity here that I don't think I've done half the possible combos in this game. FYI, I've literally played this game for a decade now. Now, we're finally going to get into the customizability, and oh man, they perfected it. The way the experience system works is simple, but has so much potential for specialized character builds. There's basically 2 upgrade trees, stats and skills, and you get 1 point for each tree per level, and you get 2 points if you hit a level that's like a multiple of 5. The first tree is stats, which are strike, which is damage, agility, defense, body, which is your health, and focus, which is your energy max and recovery. These are pretty simple, but depending on who you're upgrading, you might want to split your points really differently. Like, if you're playing someone like Cyclops, for instance, his raw basic damage is shit. Like, it's honestly one of the worst in the game. But his damage from his specials is very, very good. If you want a balanced character that can do everything average, go ahead and even out your stats. Do I recommend this? Fuck no. You're going to be way better off putting your opponents into focus so you can use your special moves more often, because that's what Cyclops is really good at, and that's his main strength. Do you have to listen to me to progress, though? Also, fuck no. You can do whatever you want, because that's what the game encourages, and you can most definitely beat the game with balanced characters. It'll probably be a lot more difficult, because that's not how the game was intended to be played. Remember, this game was made for multiplayer, so having a more specialized upgrade tree will make your life so much easier. The other tree that you want to look at is the skill tree. When you get a new character, they usually have the following: 4 special moves, which are 2 attacking moves, 1 buff, and then 1 ultimate, which only the first move unlocked by default, and some other passive skills as well. For Cyclops or Storm, for example, you can upgrade something called Leadership, which will boost your XP and damage that you get off of team combos. For Wolverine, you can get passive health regeneration. For Rogue, Jean Grey, or Storm, you can get Flight, etc., etc. There's a few extra passives that are non-character specific, but I don't recommend putting points there because those just up your stats. They're not really that useful anyway. You can unlock and upgrade your main 3 special attacks to your heart's content, adding extra damage, making a debuff last longer, or adding extra effects to the attack. Keep in mind that there are 15 total X-Men you can play as, and you get full control over every stat for every one. You can basically choose any build you want and use whoever you want, however you want. Don't waste points on the stupid shit though, because once you use a stat point and confirm it, it is gone. Completely disappeared. Unless you want to go back to an earlier save and get all the XP you got all over again, that ability is what you're stuck with. Now, although I could go on and on about how amazing this game is, I do feel obligated to tell you guys that there are some major issues that X-Men Legends has. If you're looking for a developed, heart-tearing story that you can replay over and over again, go play God of War or something, because you're not getting that here. Also, this game is graphically really underwhelming, which could also come from hardware restrictions, but it's not a pretty game at all. It's got a lot of dark, gritty locations that have no color to them. Everything is gray or green, and not a pretty green either, like a vomit-colored green. Here's another big issue. Certain characters have to be in your party for certain missions for you to be able to progress. Environment interactions are cool, but you have no idea when or who you need to solve these puzzles until you actually run into them. So if you need to bridge and you don't have Magma or Iceman in your party, you're literally fucked. You got to restart the level completely, or find like a checkpoint to be able to swap out your characters. And there's another issue. This game relies on manual saving at checkpoints, and it doesn't autosave. If you team wipe and you forgot to save for like 3 checkpoints, too damn bad. You need to start over from the last checkpoint you have, and you lose all the experience, all the items, all the equipment you might have gotten. The last issue I have isn't one that I have personally, but a lot of people complain that the game's difficulty is completely backwards. Basically, as you progress, the game gets easier because you're upgrading your team at the same time. I don't entirely agree, but I will say this game is fucking hard. You're going to often find yourself surrounded by enemies, stun locked, or racing around the map with one character left trying to find health. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, the only character who gets health passively is Wolverine. For everybody else, you gotta use health packs, which are supposed to randomly drop from enemies or breakable objects. However, it always seems like they're a fucking legendary item when you desperately need them. Lastly, certain enemies are just completely broken. Most of the foot soldiers are fine, but the Sentinel Platform Mark II is a completely different story. They pop up late game and have two main attacks. One is an AoE wave that will invert your controls. That's a pain in the ass to deal with. You're going to use the wrong special move when you want to use a different one. It's awful. Their primary blasting attack, though, actually is the main issue. It hits like a truck, and it comes out so fast that you can easily lose an X-Men or two just from that. They also have a shit ton of health, so you really got to hit it hard and quick to kill it safely. I've loved X-Men Legends for almost a decade now, and I literally replayed it like less than 2 months ago from start to finish just for fun, and I still can't get over how amazing this game is. If you haven't already tried it, please do yourself a favor and buy a copy, emulate it, to play it legitimately. Emulate it. It's honestly some of the most fun I've ever had in a video game, and if you can find friends to play through the game with you, you're going to finally have somebody to scream at after wiping your whole team to a Sentinel platform for the 4th time. With that being said, I appreciate you guys for sticking around till the end of the video, and if there's any game you want me to glaze next, let me know in the comments. With that being said, Activision, please remaster X-Men Legends now.